Mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And I'm excited because today we recently went on our November 2024 Disney trip. This was a very unexpected trip that we went on.
Quick trip.
Yeah, it was a quick 2-day trip. So we're just going to go over what we did in 2 days and our reviews of stuff too. So we flew in on December 18th, Monday, December 18th. And you had put us in on the wait list for the Boardwalk Resort. So tell us about
what happens is
process?
the whole idea of this trip was that it was 2 days left over from when we had to come home for our cat emergency in May. And Disney was very nice to give me my points back. I didn't even ask for them.
They put the points in like a holding thing.
When Disney gives you your points back like that, it's treated like as if you canceled the vacation close to your date. So even though we had already stayed for part of the week, when I said we were leaving due to an emergency, they said they would talk to the office, and sure enough, they gave me back the points. So the points are put in a holding account. That holding account has restrictions. It expires.
And this is DVC points,
Yeah,
right?
DVC points. It expires at the end of your use year, and my use year is February. So when they gave us those points back in May, I had till February to use them, and the restriction is that you can only book your room 60 days ahead. Well, that's kind of hard, especially when you want to go at certain times. I mean, the weekends were out of the question.
Well, yeah, for reference, DVC normally books 11 months for your home and 6 months for non-home.
7 months.
7 months.
7 months for non-resort. So now
60 days before is
like everything's booked up,
Yeah.
and the only thing you have to hope for is somebody's canceling something that you can get in or whatever. So we kind of picked a week that it was Monday to Thursday. I could see that I had enough points left over from my from the year itself that we could have gotten only a 1-bedroom, but a 1-bedroom at a certain amount of resorts. And the only one that was available when I logged on that morning was Saratoga Springs. In the not even the best, like people have a hierarchy in Saratoga Springs of where you want to stay. We just got a standard 1-bedroom Saratoga Springs. But you're allowed to put in a wait list request, 2 wait list. So I put in 2 wait list requests for the Boardwalk, a standard and a pool Boardwalk view. Figured whatever points it used. So sure enough, all of a sudden I see
it was like the week before.
Yeah, the week before, all of a sudden I see that we're going to the Boardwalk. Yeah. I get like, welcome to the Boardwalk. And I was like, oh my God. And not only did we get the Boardwalk, we got a Boardwalk view.
Yes, yeah. We've never stayed in a Boardwalk view before.
Never been at a Boardwalk view because that takes up most of the points when we're going for a whole week over the weekends and whatever. But it was so nice because we had a 1-bedroom right on the Boardwalk with a nice big balcony. It was just really nice to get to see what those people get to do when they sit on the Boardwalk at night and enjoy it.
So when you face the Boardwalk and if you kind of look towards more of the right facing the Boardwalk, we were in like the red section.
Yes.
Like the red section is where our room was. No, but it was really cool. It was so exciting because I knew, of course, at that point, I knew we were staying in the Boardwalk. But when we got there, I didn't know we had a Boardwalk facing room. So you get there, all the trees are up because it's mid to end November. So everything's decorated. Yes. The Boardwalk Daily gingerbread display is up. It's so pretty. And then they tell us, you have a Boardwalk facing view. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So we go up to the room and it was gorgeous. It was so amazing. I was like, we've never done that.
Right, beautiful view.
I've never had that view before. It's like,
of course, we had to walk like 3/4 of the way down. Anybody who knows the Boardwalk knows it's like a mile walk from the elevators to your room.
But that's the thing. I've never had that type of views ever before. No. So it's like, even when you stay at the Swan and Dolphin, you don't see the Boardwalk like that. You're much further apart.
No, you're way.
And we've never stayed at the
And
beach
whenever we've stayed at the Boardwalk, we always get a pool view.
Yeah, we get like a pool or like a standard view. So you face, sometimes the other side of the river or something like that.
We've never had a Boardwalk view.
It was so exciting. So we got there, we unpacked, so exciting. And then we went off to Disney Springs, which was also exciting too, because Disney Springs fully decorated as well.
Yes, they had the Christmas tree stroll, the Christmas tree thing, that walk as they call it, that you could go and look at. All the different trees had different themes and stuff, and it was all playing Christmas music.
They had like a pamphlet that you could fill out as you go to all the trees. We don't do that.
No.
If I lived locally, I would definitely do that because it would be fun to do it. But yeah, we don't do that. But the trees were so well decorated, honestly. You can definitely tell a lot of care gets put into the Christmas tree stroll. And we did a lot of shopping. We actually bought a lot of stuff. We were like, we're not going to buy that much stuff.
That's what I told Amanda. I have nothing to buy. And I went home with a shopping bag.
We went to Sephora, Lululemon. I got Disney pajamas. We saw a lot of the new Disney Christmas merchandise as well.
I got to tell you, anybody who likes Disney's clothing, like things with Disney logo on it, they have upped their game this year. Because there have been like the last 2 years that I've walked through and said, this stuff is not nice. I don't know who's doing this, but it just doesn't grab me. It doesn't do anything. They have one after the other now that it's beautiful. I mean, these jackets, the sweatshirts, the tops, the things, the stuff that they're showing now, I think it's all really nice.
Yeah.
Disney logos.
I definitely agree. So I got Disney pajamas. I hemmed them already, but I need to fix the inseam because the inseam is very low. So I need to just adjust that as well. I've looked in Google. I've never done that before. So I'm like, well, I'm going to just start sewing suddenly out of nowhere. But I'm going to fix the inseam. It was super cute as well. And then we had dinner at Summer House on the lake. So this is kind of in the old east side or the old west side.
The old west side.
Yes,
where
the
the Gloria Stefan's restaurant used to be.
Yes. So we had Summer House on the lake, and first we shared a grilled artichoke. This was the main reason why I want to go back to this restaurant.
Just to have their grilled artichoke. It's so good.
Artichoke is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do artichoke, to like make an artichoke. So it's just like, okay, it's a lot of work. I've never done it myself. My mom has done it before.
Yes.
But I've never done it myself. So to have someone else do it is great because it's very messy, and then when you're eating it, it's very messy too. So the whole process is very messy.
Yes, but it's so good.
It's so good. I love it. I love artichoke. It's like such a treat to have an artichoke. So we had the artichoke, and then last time I had pasta, but this time I wanted to try their pizza. So I had the margarita pizza. My mom had steak on a salad was what I had.
Yes, I had their steak Fritz, but instead of the Fritz, I asked for a salad.
Steak and salad. And my dad had fish tacos. And then, of course, we did get some cookies to go. But overall, great. We definitely recommend it.
Atmosphere is great. The service was excellent. The whole ambiance was, we just had a great meal.
Yeah, they have a very varied menu, which I think is nice because you can really eat lots of different types of food. Yes,
anybody can get what they need.
From like pizza and pasta.
All the table, the chairs are always comfortable. They have these beautiful
chairs.
We
sat in like these like deck chairs, basically.
Yes, they were like cushioned deck chairs.
Yes,
they were like just really nice. Yeah. And the waitress was adorable. She was really nice, very helpful. I got to tell you, last time we went there, we had a little bit of a problem. So I was like, oh my God, I hope this place got better.
Yeah, and then they were like, we're never going here again. I'm like, but the artichoke.
Yes, but the artichoke. Okay, so I said, all right, we'll give it another shot. I got to tell you, I have to say that it was not that crowded. It was a Monday night.
It wasn't, no, yeah.
It was a Monday night, so that makes a difference. It was a Monday night, but I have to tell you that the restaurant was crowded, but it wasn't like overpacked like it was the first time we went. This was it was really nice, I have to say. I enjoyed it.
For sure. And then we did get cookies. So they do switch out some of their cookies for seasonal cookies, which is good to know because I wasn't sure the first time we went there if they had seasonal cookies, but they do.
They do.
So we got the almond cookie, a sugar cookie, and a chocolate chip cookie. There were lots of cookies. They all looked great, if I'm being really honest.
I know, you want one of each.
We limited to 3 cookies for the 3 of us. So those are the cookies we got, and they all were really good. I have to say, I really like my sugar cookie that I got. I don't normally get the sugar sprinkle cookies, but it looked so good for some reason. I was like, I just really want that one.
No, they're very good.
Worth it. But that was not dessert, surprisingly enough. So we actually...
That for them, they had...
Those cookies were just like, oh, we're getting these for later tonight. Yes. But our actual dessert was at Ghirardelli's. Yes. So because what happened was that we passed Ghirardelli's before we had dinner, and we're like, oh, maybe we should get Ghirardelli's later. And then we're like, yeah, let's go get Ghirardelli's now. So we got the cookies, then we went to Ghirardelli's.
And it was great there too because I got a table. Yes. Well, they weren't getting their ice cream. I got a table, and we sat there and just relaxed and watched the people go by. They were playing country music on the stage right over there, so it was really nice.
Yeah. So one thing I would say Ghirardelli's is that when you get in there's a big menu that you can look at, and they have all these sundaes that you can get, and like milkshakes and fancy drinks that you can get, but you can just get 2 scoops of ice cream or like 1 scoop of ice cream. That is not on the menu. No. You just have to tell them that's what you want.
Yeah, you think you want to get one of these, you look at it and go, I don't really want one of those big sundaes.
I do notice that a lot of people do get the sundaes. I think a lot of people especially just think, oh, this is just what they have.
That's what they have.
This is like a tourist location, so they just do sundaes. But when you say you just want 2 scoops, right in front of the cashier, there's the tiny, tiny little menu where it just has all their ice cream flavors that they have, and you can just order scoops and toppings if you want as well. So me and my dad both got 2 scoops each. So I got a scoop with mint chocolate chip and cookie dough, and my dad had vanilla and chocolate. Very good. I feel like Ghirardelli ice cream is some of the best ice cream.
It was very good.
So good. So we had our ice cream. Of course, it was warm, so it felt nice to have like ice cream, in the warm weather. Then we headed back to the Boardwalk Resort. Our bus driver, because sometimes the Boardwalk gets its own bus, and sometimes you share with the Beach and Yacht Club, and it just depends. So for Disney Springs, you share with the Beach and Yacht Club. So if we did not have to go to the Beach and Yacht Club, in which we were the only ones on the bus, so we just drove there and then immediately left. We got
on the bus and
no one got on the bus. By the time we got to the Boardwalk, we did not see the fireworks off the balcony.
Because we had to stop at the Beach and Yacht Club.
Yeah, we just missed the fireworks basically, right when we got back, and we were going to Screen Door to get some water bottles for the room.
We had just missed them.
Yeah, the fireworks were going off, and then that was it. So we had just missed it basically. But if we didn't have to go to those 2 stops that were just,
I know, we could have just went right back.
We were the only ones on the bus. That is okay. But, all right, Tuesday morning we wake up and we go to breakfast at Trattoria al Forno. This is part of the Boardwalk, which is kind of nice. So we just walk down, go over to Trattoria al Forno.
I was so happy we were staying there.
Yes, I had Mickey waffles and eggs. My mom also had eggs, and my dad had eggs. That's
right. We all had eggs. We all had our protein because we were going to be walking a lot.
Nothing crazy for breakfast.
No.
But we did walk through the cake bake shop, which is honestly so thrilling. I was really excited to see the cake bake shop. So pretty, honestly.
Yes, very pretty. Very magical. Everything's got crystal sprinkles on
Yeah,
it.
they put edible glitter on all their food.
Everything glitters.
It's kind of weird.
Yes, the cookies,
I've never
everything
had food
glitters.
with edible glitter.
Yes, it all glitters.
Yes. So for reference, our summer house cookies the night before were $5 a cookie, and these were $7 a cookie with edible glitter. I would say they were the same size. We didn't get anything. We just walked through and then
we
left.
just looked at the glitter.
My dad was absolutely appalled at this. He picked up this little thing. It was like 4 to 6 bags of tea.
4 to 6 bags of tea in this little box.
Yes, and it was $30.
Yeah, cellophane wrapped tea box, box with tea bags in it.
He could not get over the $30
$30 price tag. He's like, what the?
Yes, so he couldn't handle it. And then this was an Epcot day, so again, very convenient that we were staying right on the boardwalk,
Yes.
and then we could just
So we got
walk
to
right
see
into
it.
Epcot. So we walked right into Epcot. And so the week before our trip, we did buy a multi-pass for both Epcot and Magic Kingdom, which is where we went to the next day. And so we had already selected our few lightning lanes that were lined up. I will say it was very easy to do. So you just go on the My Disney Experience app. Everyone, of course, has to have a ticket. And so when you make your selections and then you purchase. So you can see the selections before you purchase, which is kind of nice. So you don't buy it and then realize that the ride you want to go on, you don't want to go on.
Right.
And even the week before, I didn't buy it the exact second I could have bought it because I forgot. I set a reminder, the reminder didn't go off, so I missed it. So I bought it the next day, and there was still plenty of times,
Well, like I said,
decent times
the
that
parks
were
were not as crowded as they could have been.
Definitely not. It was
they
a
were
good week
definitely
'cause-
manageable.
because it was the week before Thanksgiving, so it was kind
And
of
it was
like
midweek.
a slightly less busy time, I would say. So we did get some pretty good times overall. And when you book the passes, pre-passes, they cannot overlap. So it has to be exact, like 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and you can't have like a 1:30 to 2:30. The next one has to start at 2. But once you're in the park, they can overlap. So like that's kind of convenient. So for instance, and also when you're doing your pre ones, you can only book 1 tier 1 ride, but then you can book like 2 tier 2 rides. So like 3 rides in total. So, and you can only book one of the 1 tier 1s, or you can book like 3 tier 2s if you wanted to, for instance. And so again, you can only do that. But then once you use that first pass, so even if you use your first pass that was a tier 2, you can then try to rebook another tier 1. So for instance, in Epcot, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and Frozen Ever After are tier 1 rides. So after we used our first pass and we didn't do Remy's yet, we could have then booked Frozen Ever After, even though that was a tier 2 ride, for instance. So I do think overall the system works kind of well in that sense, because you can try to max it out pretty well. So when and the other thing that we actually tried to do, so when we got into the ride, when we got into the park itself, our first multi-pass wasn't for another hour because I didn't know how long breakfast was going to take. So I booked the first multi-pass for a little bit later, and I was like, well, we can actually go on it a lot sooner. So I was able to see the times of like the next available pass, cancel our first pass, and then rebook it in that exact second for an earlier time so we can just walk straight to Spaceship Earth. And for that day, when I checked my, what I had done for that day in my video, I had rebooked all of the passes except for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure.
Okay.
Because the way it was working out was that we got there a lot sooner than we were expecting. So as soon as we walked into the park, we went straight to Spaceship Earth and we were able to use our pass. And then from there, I was able to then book, we did Spaceship Earth, Soarin', Living with the Land, Figment, and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure all on the multi-pass. And so again, that was just like all of them were all booked one after the other. And then of course, Remy's Ratatouille was pre-booked. And that one I did not want to touch because of course Remy's is, that's the high. Everyone wants to go on Remy's and Frozen Ever After. I did try to get Frozen Ever After. The problem with Frozen is that if once we use Spaceship Earth, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try to get Frozen knowing that it's a higher tier ride. The times that were available were only when we were having dinner. So I was like, okay, well, I can't book it when we're having dinner. Obviously, we're not going to do that. And then by the time I was able to book it again, I think around Soarin', the times were, I think, the ride was temporarily down. So
down for a while.
If a ride is down, you cannot book a multi-pass. Even if it comes back up later in the day, you just can't do it. So I couldn't book it. And then by time the times are available, it was like late into the evening. It's like, okay, well, we're not doing it late into the evening. So Frozen was the only ride I would say that we probably would have done with the multi-pass.
Yeah, but didn't get to do it.
But that was okay. So
but that's okay. Like I said, it was fine. We did a great day. We
That's
strolled, we sat, we went on the rides we wanted to go on. I thought all in all, it was a pretty good day.
Yeah, so we did those with the multi-pass, and then I did buy a single pass for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
She's the only one that goes on
The
it
single
anyway.
passes work the same as they do for the paper attraction. That is, you just pick the time of day that you want to go. It's very easy, honestly. Like those ones are way easier than the multi-pass or like what formerly was Genie Plus. Right. So the same thing, I just picked the time of day I wanted to go, and then I just went to the ride and went on it. So it was very convenient, honestly. Right. So definitely worth it. And the only ride in Epcot that we did not use the pass for was the Grand Fiesta Tour, which doesn't have a multi-pass option.
No, and the line was there wasn't a big line this time, so we just went on it.
No, Nope. Yeah. So we did Spaceship Earth. We did Soarin', which again, we got to see the Soarin'. So the big thing when we went on Soarin' was that in a few days after we went on, they changed the ending scene of Soarin' to the new World Celebration area that's now in Epcot. When we saw it, we did still see the old fountain that was there. Like my dad literally saw and said, "Oh look, that fountain's not there anymore." And I said, "Like, yeah, no, it's not." So now it has changed. So yeah, we saw that 2 days before they changed it, which is actually kind of exciting.
They fixed the graphics on how everything
leans. They fixed some of the curving, the curvature.
Last time we went on that ride, the Eiffel Tower was completely curved because we were all the way on the end.
They fixed the curvature of the Earth for that one. But it is kind of cool because now we'll probably never see the fountain again.
No.
You know, that's gone now.
That's it.
The electric umbrella, the fountain, all of that's gone. We'll never see that again. So it's kind of exciting
childhood.
that we got to see that one last time before I switched over. So that was cool. We did do Living with the Land as well. Living with the Land. We saw the lights were up in Living with the Land, but they sadly were not on.
Yeah, nothing was on yet. They were starting to decorate. You could tell they were starting to take stuff out and put stuff in. So they were in the middle of decorating.
Yeah, but it was exciting to go and live in the land and just see the lights. No, soon they'll be turned on for rest of the holidays. By now they are turned on, of course.
Right.
And then we did Figment. We hadn't done Figment in a while, so Figment's always fun.
Yeah, we did that. That was fun.
And we also did again Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, one of the fun ones. I will say I could never do Standby again for that line. So for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, that one is truly the one that's worth it.
That's a horrible line.
Because that one's that's one of the worst standby lines. I really do not like Remy's Ratatouille Adventure standby line. But they were testing the single rider.
Single rider.
Yeah, so when we were there, we saw the single rider testing. It's not officially open yet. It's just in like beta mode, so to speak. But it seemed to be going okay. So I wonder if they're gonna.
A couple of people were confused. They put a guy online and like he didn't get in, and they were like telling him, "No, you got to get in that one."
I think single rider is always a little confusing.
Yeah.
So especially for people who don't speak fluent English.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, it was good.
Yeah, but so I'd be curious to see if it does officially open, because I know for Rise of the Resistance and Hollywood Studios, they are also beta testing the single rider line. So again, I'm just curious to see how that's.
It'll help alleviate some of these big long lines.
Yeah, because when I went to Disneyland Paris, that's how I did Remy's Ratatouille. I went on the single line, and again, we didn't have that in Epcot, so I just walked on there. I was like the only one in the line by myself. All these families. Well,
that's what I mean. As adults, you don't need to sit together. You just want to do the ride and then talk about it afterwards. So what difference does it make?
And there's no photo on that ride, so it's not like if you want a family photo.
Oh
in
yeah,
the mouse.
We don't do that anyway. So
I know, but I know some people say they like the family photo in the mouse of just their own family.
Like I said, as for us, a single rider line would be a godsend.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised that ride doesn't have a photo, because I feel like everything else does. I don't know. No photo. Actually, a lot of the Epcot rides don't have photos. Now that I'm thinking about
Grand Fiesta doesn't.
I think Frozen does have a photo, but the other ones don't have a photo. So I don't know. I feel like they should add a photo. I would like a photo and a mouse. So.
The mouse.
Well, anyway, so I did Guardians of the Galaxy. I cannot tell you what song I got. I can't remember. Honestly, as it was happening, I just like blacked out. Don't know what song I got. Okay. So no, I'd have to watch the footage again. I don't remember, but it was very fun, as it always is. And then Grand Fiesta Tour was also very fun. Again, no multipass option. But it's funny because the week before, the Grand Fiesta Tour had a line outside the Mexican Pavilion.
Outside the
it was like
outside the building.
Yeah,
I know.
Around outside the building, and when we went on, there was like no line.
I was like, I'd never stand on a line like that.
It's truly wild how the lines ebb and flow.
Yes. We were very lucky.
I forgot to say, we did get a drink in Living with the Land between Soarin' and Living with the Land, and then I had a macaroon in France, which was also very good. I got the big raspberry macaroon. I'd never had it before. I'd always wanted to try it, so I was excited to try it. And then we had dinner at Les Cellier, which was so good. This was the first time we've gone to Les Cellier without a crazy wait to sit down and no drama. We just walked in and sat down.
Yeah, thank God there was no drama. They actually sat us, but I gotta tell you, it was good.
Very good.
It was very good. It's always very good.
Yeah, the bread was amazing. So good. I love bread. I had the mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is actually a side dish there, but it is very good. And it's a pretty big portion, honestly. It's hard to finish all of it.
Yeah, it's a decent portion.
My dad had a pork chop with the mushroom side, and my mom had steak on top of a salad.
I got the salad there, like house salad kind of with the steak on it.
And that is not on the menu either, that you can get a salad and add a protein.
They don't tell you can add a protein.
Yeah, so she asked.
I always ask.
And they said, yes, you can add steak. It was steak, shrimp, or chicken you can add.
No, steak, shrimp. Yeah, steak, shrimp, or chicken.
Yeah. And so my mom added steak. They didn't ask her what steak she wanted to add. It just
they didn't even ask me how to have it done or anything, but it came exactly the way I loved it. So I was happy.
It definitely looked good. All of our food was super good. Definitely amazing. And then we were so tired, we did not stay in the park for Luminous.
I would have stayed for Amanda. I said, I'll do it for you.
Yeah, we thought about it, but at this point, November is a very busy month for me personally. So by the time we got to this point, I was like, no, let's just go back to the rooms, because I wanted to take a shower. I wanted to have my dessert. We ended up going to Screen Door, which is kind of like the little store for the Boardwalk. And I got a cupcake in Screen Door. I got the little mini cupcake. Well, it's the chocolate cupcake with the Christmas tree frosting, but there's like a little bow on it that makes it, I think Minnie's like Minnie. I don't know. Maybe it's not Minnie. There's ears. I don't know. It's Mickey, but it was very good. I definitely say the frosting has no flavor. It's just like very sugary, sweet frosting. It's not like a vanilla frosting, for instance. I almost wish it was a chocolate frosting, so I do prefer chocolate frosting. But anyway, though, but we were able then to watch the fireworks from our balcony, and that was so exciting. Like that was
we just went outside, sat on the chairs, and just sat there and watched the fireworks.
And that's why I was okay too with like not staying for Luminous, because I was like, well, we can just go watch the fireworks from the balcony anyway. And so it's like, even though I've only actually seen Luminous once in the parks, and I did really like Luminous when I saw it, but we just watched
when you're bone tired and you just had enough, you're just like, this is nice.
Was it difficult to get the reservation for Les Cellier, or were you able to get it right away?
No, this time it was not. Well, we ate early too. I put in an early reservation, and like I said, we didn't have much trouble with anything because it was not that crowded.
That's true. So Tuesday morning, we took a lift to the Grand Floridian. We just took a regular Uber lift. We didn't take the minivan. We got to the Grand Floridian, and it was so exciting to see all the Christmas trees and the gingerbread house in the Grand Floridian. I love the little, like the individual trees as the little characters. I love the little Mickey and Minnie shingles on it.
I know, I love it.
I know,
they did
it's
the
so
little Winnie the
pretty.
Pooh trees on the porch.
It smells so good when you're in there. I really liked it. I did end up later on getting a little gingerbread man that was so good. He was in a little package. I do wish we had the Disneyland Mickey gingerbread man, but they only do that in Disneyland, which is really sad. I don't know why they won't bring it here, which is so sad. But
because they want you to go to Disneyland.
I know, it's like an exclusive and special for them, but it's like
everything's got to have an exclusive.
So I just got the regular gingerbread man, and he was $8, and my dad was appalled that this cookie was $8. But I was just like, well, I'm eating him, so he tasted great.
We don't listen to him. We just go, just buy the cookie.
All right. It's like, and so then we had breakfast at the Grand Floridian Cafe, which is one of our favorite places for breakfast.
Yes.
We have a whole podcast. Actually, we have a whole podcast episode on Les Cellier too, I think. So
I think we did.
A whole podcast
Yes.
episode on the Grand Floridian Cafe.
Yep.
And we went there for breakfast. Of course, their biscuits are so good. I had avocado toast. My mom had a burger with no bun and a salad, and my dad had eggs.
And I loved it. I got a cheeseburger. I was very happy.
I think my dad had a few other things too, but I just remember he had eggs.
He had eggs with potatoes and things and stuff on it.
And then we took the monorail over to Magic Kingdom. So now this was a little bit later in the day by the time we were getting to the Grand Floridian.
Because now we were at the Grand Floridian. It was a little later breakfast.
And the park was a little bit busier this day as well. So whereas when we went to Epcot, I was able to cancel that first multi-pass to rebook it for an earlier time, I could not do that in Magic Kingdom. So we had to wait until we could use our first multi-pass at 12 o'clock noon. So instead, we went over to Space Mountain, and I did standby for Space Mountain to get on Space Mountain.
Which wasn't too bad.
So this is one of the tips that people have given that I've seen that I would definitely agree with, is that sometimes you do want your first pass. They call it like a burner pass, where it's like you just get in the park and you just use the pass as quickly as possible so you can start rebooking other rides. Because again, once you get in the park and you use that first pass, then you can book another tier 2 ride if you really wanted to. So you can book multiple rides, or you can book like the tier 2 rides if you want to, whereas you couldn't do that when you're doing your pre-selections. So we weren't able to do that, unfortunately, but that is okay, because for the multi-pass, we still went on Pirates of the Caribbean, It's a Small World, Haunted Mansion, and Winnie the Pooh. And we also did Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and we did do a pass for Big Thunder Mountain, but we didn't actually end up using it.
That was too late. We got tired.
Yeah, I know, right? And for standby, we did do standby lines for Space Mountain, the People Mover, the Enchanted Tiki Room, the Carousel of Progress, Mickey's PhilharMagic, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Tron, and the Buzz Lightyear ride.
Yeah, we did everything.
Again, standby, I mean, like the shows often don't really have lines for standby, but even for standby for some of these other rides, the park wasn't crowded.
It wasn't at all.
So the park was not that
Buzz
crowded.
Lightyear, we walked onto it.
We truly walked onto Buzz Lightyear.
It took us the time to walk through the queue.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it was kind of wild because I never walked on.
And mine
Buzz
was
Lightyear
broken.
Like that. No. All right, I guess we can get into that now. My mom swears that hers were broken.
Mine was broken.
We got on. I will say that ride is hard.
I never do that badly.
Yeah, that ride is hard. That gun thing is so hard.
Funny.
It's like, how do you aim with that? I just don't understand.
It was so funny.
As we're on the ride too, the ride stops probably to let someone in a wheelchair out, and they make an announcement saying that if you shoot, that you're not going to get any points because it pauses the game. Yeah. That was a lie. No. It does not pause the game. No. You can keep shooting.
Because Joe kept shooting, and he got a big gigantic
score.
Yeah,
my dad kept shooting, and then I took some good photos and video, which is great actually, because you normally can't get that stuff when you're in that ride because you're playing the game. So I got some great photos and video, but then when I start shooting, I was like, wait, you can keep shooting. And my mom was like, I am shooting.
I was shooting. It just wasn't. Mine was broken.
So I had a little over 200,000 points. My dad had over 300,000 points. My mom had 17,000 points.
Yeah, so did you think mine was broken? I'm not that bad.
Well, she was more upset too because the person in front of us, it was just one woman and there wasn't a second person with her, and the empty chair had 5,000 points. She was like,
at one point it had more points than me.
And she was like, do they just give everyone pity points just in case? And I was like, I guess so.
I'm looking ahead going, that empty chair is doing better than me.
But then you had 17,000 by the end, which is pretty good.
Okay.
So. But it was fun though to go on the bus light ride.
That made the ride worth it. We did more laughing than anything else. Okay.
But yeah, so we did do, so again, for multi-pass, we got into Pirates. We did It's a Small World, just kind of as a burner one. We did Haunted Mansion, which was really fun. I feel like Haunted Mansion is always worth it for a multi-pass because the line for Haunted Mansion is always long. And the line for Haunted Mansion is predominantly outdoors. So for instance, when the line for Pirates of the Caribbean is long, a lot of it is indoors though. So it's not as bad. Yeah, so the big thing is that we just weren't able to maximize the multi-pass as much as Epcot is the only thing. And that is part of the reason because we really wanted to save the big thing for Tiana's Bayou adventure.
Right, Amanda definitely wanted to see it.
Yeah, that was the main reason why we got the multi-pass for Tiana's Bayou adventure.
Right, so we make sure she could get to see that.
So we did have a quick snack in Liberty Square. My mom had cheese and I had a pretzel. And then it rained for about 35 minutes when we were in the park that day. So when we were coming back, I think from The Little Mermaid is what it was when it started to downpour. And when I say downpour, it was downpouring, that's for sure.
Right.
And we hid out in Memento Mori for a while. And we thought about maybe doing something else to wait out the rain. But for the most part, we kept checking the app and it kept saying the rain was going to end in 30 minutes. So my dad almost bought a $12 poncho.
I know, we stopped him from
don't buy
buying
the poncho.
We said,
you don't need the poncho.
wait till we have to leave in the rain.
Because we don't have anything to do. Because at this point, we're just waiting for the
we had rain
Tiana's
jackets.
pass. Yeah, so we were just waiting for the pass to be ready so that we could walk over to Tiana's Bayou adventure. But at that point, we were also really close to dinner time too. So my mom actually went all the way over to where we're going to have dinner at Tony's Town Square. I mean, my dad wanted
just waited for them,
for them
to go on Tiana's. But when we got to Haunted Mansion, it was already drizzling. And it was funny because we were standing out there. We couldn't go in. We were like 5 minutes early for our pass. And we couldn't go in. And I went to go stand under the eave. And two of the workers were standing under the eaves too. And he was a really nice guy. He looked like was talking to us and fooling around with us. And he said, what are you doing? I said, we're waiting because our passes are not ready. He says, cancel your passes. I'll let you in. Yeah, that was very nice of him.
Yeah, no, but our passes were basically.
Yeah, and I said, no, thank you.
Right now,
I said, thank you very much. I said, but our passes are about to go in. But thanks anyway. But that was very nice of him because we were just bantering back and forth just under the eave there, just wasting time.
Especially too, because for the multi-pass, you can only go on the rides once. So if we had done that, we could have potentially, say in quotes, gone on the ride twice.
Right.
But I mean, like we didn't have
we
to
didn't
do
need
that,
to because we had other things going on.
Yeah.
Like I said, they had Tiana's pass. But it was very nice of him. It was like, he says, I'll let you in. I said, no, that's okay. Thank you. We're just about to go in. So it was very nice of him.
Yeah, so it kind of was raining earlier, but that was only like the light
Disney
drizzle.
pixie dust that we didn't use.
Because then later in the day, then it really rained for sure.
Yes.
And it was definitely downpouring.
Yes, it was downpouring.
But then it was funny because it's downpouring rain and then we're about to go into Tiana's Bayou adventure. So it's just like, well, we're going to get
Difference
wet
in making it be wet anyway.
So me and my dad go over there, and that's why I say the multi-pass was definitely worth it because there was a long queue for it all day long for the most part. Like it was over an hour queue for it all day long.
Wanted it.
The whole queue is completely different. It looks so cool. It's very New Orleans-esque, and you basically walk through Tiana's kitchen, which is so fun. It was so cute. There's like photos of like her and her family like on the wall and stuff like that, and like different like kitchen things and cooking things and New Orleans stuff. It was really exciting actually. It was so cute. I hadn't seen it yet. I was wondering because for Splash Mountain, the loading area, it's like you walk through this cave and then you get to the loading area, and it's kind of like it was like a TNT loading area type thing. I was wondering how they would change that for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and they basically didn't. It's the same. You walk through the cave, and then when you get to the end of the cave, you are basically in like this cave-esque area that's basically still a loading area. You get on at the loading area. The ride is post-movie. So for instance, at this point, like for instance, for Frozen Ever After, for even like the Ariel, the Voyage of the Little Mermaid, for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, those rides basically take you through the story of the movie for the most part. Like you're recapped to the story of, even like the Finding Nemo ride, you're recapped the story of the movie. Whereas this ride is post-movie. So Tiana is already a princess. Like she's already with Prince Naveen. And the overall story is that Tiana is throwing a celebration and you're helping her select music for the celebration. So as you go on the ride, you're chugging along, you're passing these animals that are playing music. So there's a lot of music in this ride, a lot of jazz and blues music, because you're watching the animal bands play the music, and Tiana's like, what do you think of this band type of stuff? And then she says a lot of cute stuff like, this band is so jazzy, but I don't know exactly what she says, like all like the little things that I think that are like New Orleans phrases, but basically how fun the music is. So you're going along. During the first indoor drop, you drop because Mama Odie shrinks you down to the size of a firefly, and when you're in that room, this is the old room that had the frogs with like the water that kind of goes over you, like the dark room, and you see Tiana and Louie on a big screen screen and they're like, how did you get so small? But this is great music. Like, and Tiana's like, this is the sound I've been searching for, type of thing, because the fireflies are playing the music. So you're supposed to be the size of a firefly, right? So you're this little tiny firefly. And then out you find the music. Mama Odie is like, that's great. Let's grow you back to big size now. And then that's the big drop. So the big drop is you growing back to like your normal size, I say in quotes. And so I really liked how the drops were presented as something fun and exciting instead of something scary and like ominous. So like in Splash Mountain, it was just like, oh no, like you've been like Brer Rabbit was captured and now it's like, how is he going to escape and all this stuff. Whereas in this one, it's just like, oh my gosh, we're having so much fun. We're going to a party later. We're listening to music. It's like, you're the little size of a firefly. Hee hee. It's like, now we're going to get you back to normal size. Like it's supposed to be very fun, which I did think was really interesting in that sense. I really like that switch in dynamic. And it's not the first time Disney has done this. So for instance, in Disney California Adventure Park, when they switched Tower of Terror to the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, like replacing Tower of Terror. I don't know what that ride is called, but in Disney California Adventure, it's the same concept though. Tower of Terror, the drops are presented as something scary, whereas in that ride, you're escaping and Rocket is playing this great, 80s music for you as you're escaping out of wherever, I forget the guy's name because I don't know Guardians of the Galaxy that well, but the collector, you're escaping out of the collector's vault basically, but it's presented as a very fun thing that you're doing, like a fun and exciting thing. So I do like that they're presenting some of these things that it's like, these rides aren't scary, like they're supposed to be fun. And so, and I just thought that was a really great twist instead. I will say the animatronics were absolutely amazing. So good. I feel like
they spent the detail.
Yeah, no cent was spared. And there's like 6 Tianas. Like there's multiple. It's like I thought it was gonna be like 1 or 2 like great Tiana animatronics. There are multiple Tianas all throughout the ride, which I thought was really great. There are multiple Louis all throughout the ride. So it was super fun to see them multiple times. And I love Tiana's little outfits that she's wears. And that final evening gown she has on is so gorgeous. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Her little final outfit is so pretty. And so again, well, animatronics are great. I thought the ride was overall great. Me and my dad both agreed we thought the plot was kind of confusing because we didn't really know what we were doing at first. And then when you shrink it down to the firefly size, we didn't get that. We're like, what happened? It wasn't until we were told we were growing back to normal size. We're like, we shrunk down. We're the size of a firefly. Like, yeah, we didn't get that. It didn't click for either of us. So, but the ride was really fun. And because again, it had just downpoured for 35 minutes before the ride was full. There was a lot of water on our ride. So every time we moved, water was sloshing everywhere, like over the sides, spilling into like the fauna and the flowers and everything like that. It was kind of funny to see because I'm like, I don't know if that much water is supposed to be flooding this whole area, but it was just because it had just downpoured right before it. We did get wet, so we sat in the third row. My dad really didn't want to sit in the first row because neither of us really wanted to get soaking wet. And so the family in front of us, it was a mother and 2 daughters. They were given the first 2 rows because it's 2-seaters, and they were like, no, like we don't want to sit in the first row. We're like, we'll all squeeze together. And the guy was like, well, I'll give you the 2 rows. He says like 3 people don't really fit. And my dad told him, he's like, it's really like a 2-seater. It's really not for 3 people. And yeah, it would have been a lot if you tried to squeeze 3 people into 1 row. And so they were in front of us. We had a 3rd row, and then it was a dad and a young child behind us. And so we do the drop. And at first, because you never know what's going to happen in these drops. For instance, in the first Never After, the water comes over the sides, right? So it's like the water comes over the sides. So I was kind of thinking of that. It's like, is it going to come from the sides because we're in the 3rd row? No, it came right from my eyeballs, fully eyeball length, right for the eyeballs. Didn't hit anywhere else. Me and my dad both eyeballs. It was eyeball length in the 3rd row, and I don't know why my eyes were open. So of course, so my eyes are open. This water hits me. I'm like, oh my gosh, and it was cold. But yeah, so we did get wet. Not too wet though. It definitely could have been worse. But really, your butt gets wet just because the seat is wet just naturally.
Walking
so that's the thing that mainly gets wet. But yeah, so are you going to go on it next time? No. Even if it's a hot summer day.
As much as I would love to see it, no.
Even if it's a hot summer day.
Nope.
I think you'd be fine.
I don't like the drop.
The drop isn't really that scary.
I don't like the drop.
So the drop is fine.
Nope, don't like the drop.
It's not too. Again, it's supposed to be fun. You're growing back to human
I spend
size.
the whole ride waiting for that drop. No.
I know, because the whole time you're like, is this it? And I'm like, trust me.
When I went on it the first time, I have been on Splash Mountain, and the first time I went on it, when we were going ready to get ready, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Everything was, is this it? Is this it?
I know. Let me tell you, when the big drop is very, very obvious when it's the big drop. Like you cannot not realize that this is the big drop. Like when you're going.
Yeah, but when I was going on the first time, I didn't know. You're in the dark.
I definitely agree.
You know you're going to go over something, and you don't know what it's going to be.
But I'll say the big drop is very obvious, and it's like one of the last thing that happens.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's at the end, and I have to worry about that the whole ride. No,
but
not my
definitely
idea
fun
of
though.
fun.
think you would like it though. So,
No,
I don't
not
know.
my idea
Especially
of
for the
fun.
music. You love that jazz.
Yes, I
blues
know.
music.
That's what bothers me is that if they had to do a ride like that, couldn't they put it on something I could go on?
I will one day film the whole thing as well. So I'll
Yeah, so I
film
get
it
to
so
see
you can
it.
watch the
Yeah.
whole ride so you can see it.
Hopefully I'll
But
get to see it.
Of course, when the first time I go on rides, I never film it. I just take it in with the eyeballs.
I'll just wait till you go on next time.
But then after the ride, me and my dad scurried over to Tony's Town Square restaurant in the front of the park, and that is where we had dinner at Tony's Town Square. We got in. For the first thing we got was the garlic bread, of course, their famous garlic bread. So good. Some of the best garlic bread I've
Yes,
had in
it
the
is
restaurant.
really good garlic
Yeah,
bread.
so
I don't
such
even
good
usually
garlic
eat
bread.
garlic bread. This is very good garlic bread.
I had the rigatoni vodka, which was also very good as well. My dad had the shrimp scampi, and my mom had a Caesar salad with chicken. Right?
Yeah, mine was mediocre.
Yeah, hers was okay.
Yeah,
Me and my dad
mediocre.
both said we really liked our pasta.
He liked
dishes,
his pasta, so he thought it was very,
My
very
dad
good.
noted-
It was shrimp scampi I've never seen before. It had red onions in it. It had stuff in it I've never seen in shrimp scampi before. But he said he liked it. So
Yeah, he noted that there were no tails on the shrimp, for instance.
right, they take the
He
tails
said
off,
that
so
was
you
kinda
don't even have
nice.
to peel the shrimp or
And I
anything
said
like
too,
that.
is like I feel like, cause even for mine, I said, for instance, my dish was not super hot. It was not cold, but it was not super hot either. And I imagine that's partially because a lot of these dishes
of
could be
kids.
served to kids
Yeah.
or younger people, like in their teens or something like that. They don't want them to hurt themselves or
Right.
burn their mouths. Same thing with the shrimp. A lot of people don't realize you got to take those tails off.
Tails off, I know.
I'm sure there's been an incident where someone choked on a
Choked on a
tail,
shrimp
and now they
tail.
got to take the tails off to prevent that.
Make it
So,
easy. But no,
especially
like I
for a
said,
kid.
mine was mediocre. It wasn't the best salad I've ever had,
Yeah.
but it served the purpose for me.
But yeah, definitely very good. I would say out of the Magic Kingdom restaurants, we're not really a big fan of a lot of the Magic Kingdom restaurants, but I would say Tony's
wanna
Town
stay in the
Square
park,
and Skipper Canteen.
It's not
are the two
over. It's
best.
not totally overpriced. You can get a decent meal for decent price, and like I said, the garlic bread's good. The service was excellent.
Service is always
Service
good
was excellent. It's got a crazy atmosphere. It's very loud, but it's all the
there. Very like Italian restaurant.
yes, like an
There's a lady
Italian
in the tram.
restaurant. And like I said, if you want to stay in the park, it's a decent opportunity.
No, pretty good. So after that, this is when we had our 2 multi-pass for Winnie the Pooh and for Big Thunder, but we really only had time for one before the fireworks. So we went to Winnie the Pooh. So we went on Winnie the Pooh, and then afterwards, then we went over to the Main Street Confectionery, and this is where I got 2 Rice Krispie treats, one for then and one to take home. And my dad got the big Mickey-shaped cookie.
Was
And we
good.
watched Happily Ever
I
After
tasted
on
it.
Main
It was
Street.
good.
Yeah, and we definitely had a great spot on Main Street too. I always suggest standing more further back on Main Street because I find people who stand more further back do not film the whole show.
Right, they don't film it.
So you're not trying to fight like people holding their phones up super high or anything. Whereas I find closer to the castle, everyone's filming, and sometimes you get lucky and no one's filming right in front of you. But I find more people tend to film closer to the castle. The further away, less people tend to film. So people will still, of course, take photos or some videos, but it's not like they have their camera up the whole time.
No.
So great view of Happily Ever After, one of the best shows, I think, one of the best firework displays that I will ever see. And so I wonder too, because I mean, like, it's one of those things where it's interesting that Disney got bullied to bring it back from Enchanted.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they never going to change it now? I don't know. I mean, like, Wishes stayed there for over 20 years. So I mean, like,
know.
Happily
So
Ever
who knows?
After can
It's a
stay
very
there
good
for 20
show.
years too.
Right, great
But-
music, great everything. I like the songs they have in it. So
Yeah, no, for sure. And then then when we went back to the resort, and then when we went back to the resort, because Magic Kingdom is at 8 o'clock and Epcot's at 9 o'clock, we actually got to watch the Epcot fireworks again.
right,
from
because the bus
balcony.
from the Magic Kingdom goes straight
Yeah,
back
we
to
went
the
straight to
resort.
the
It doesn't
Boardwalk.
stop in 2 different. I guess because they figured the crowds. There's no way they can
Yeah.
pack these buses with 3 hotels. So the one going back went straight back to the hotel.
Yeah, so we went straight back. So we got back to the room, just like 20 minutes to spare. I think
Yep,
honestly.
got comfy and went outside and watched the
Yeah,
fireworks
watched
again.
the fireworks, which is so fun, honestly. So we got to see the fireworks 2 nights, which is really great.
I gotta tell you, we packed everything we had to pack in. We packed in
Yeah,
2
all
nights.
the stuff we want to do, we really I mean,
2.5 days.
Yeah, we've been to Disney for longer. I've done less. So
Yes.
it's like
We did a lot in 2.5
done.
days. I was tired.
I know. I know we were all feeling it. We were
Yeah, the
like, all
good
right,
thing
time
was
for
though
bed.
is it not only was in May was it hot when we had gone the last time, was not only was it over 100 degrees and humid, I had a bad back. This time I had no bad back.
Yeah.
That made things for Amanda to go a little faster because I didn't have to slow her down so much. So
No, for sure.
I didn't slow everybody down like I did the last time.
Yeah, but I will have full vlogs of our trip on the YouTube channel very soon. So if you're watching on YouTube, of course, it'll just be in my profile. If not, it will be linked in the Linktree description where the YouTube channel is. So those will be up very soon, which will be exciting. I also posted a lot of stories on the Instagram as well, which is Almost Amanda X, where I have a whole thing on the Instagram that you can watch the highlight stories. I post a lot of photos and video as well this time, because I don't always post video, but I did post a lot of video. I've also been making like little reels and stuff like that and posting other photos that we took, other like little snacks that we had throughout the day and giving reviews of things. So all of that is on the social media, which is super exciting. Yeah, but overall, really great trip. I feel like this trip wasn't bad in the way too, because we know we're going back in February. So only in a few months we'll be
It
back.
was a short trip, but everything went fine. The flights went fine. We met up with each other the way we were supposed to. We, got back and forth like we had to. So it was great.
No, it's definitely great. But all right, I just have a little bit of Disney news, not much. I only have one thing actually. The main thing I have here is that there's lots of new teasers for the live action Lilo and Stitch and Snow White movie that are coming out in 2025, which is super exciting. But all right, now for some Disney birthdays. There is no Disney birthdays this week. There's just one birthday this week, and that is my mom's birthday. So on December 10th is my mom's birthday.
All by myself.
Yep, happy birthday, Mom. So, well, you'll have Savannah. So Savannah's always with you.
No, I mean all by myself in this week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what, yeah. So,
Yes,
no,
obviously I'm
just
also going to be all by myself because everybody's busy.
Yes, but no, but yeah, when
Everybody's got
the,
work.
When I looked at the birthdays, I was like, oh wow,
Yeah, no.
the way the dates fell. It's
I
just
meant
super
like
sweet.
I have the whole week to myself.
All right, and that takes us to our final segment, which is a Disney memory. Do you have a Disney memory for today's podcast?
I think sitting on the balcony watching the fireworks and just relaxing. I love those memories. Those are my favorites. I mean, just the favorites, like when we do things that we don't expect. Like when we actually, the one thing we didn't do is that they brought when they were bringing the stuff into the lake, they brought the bridge up and we had to stand there and watch them come through. Like things like that happen that, you know, like you fall upon something that you don't realize you're going to fall upon. And we lucked out with that view. And I got to say, it's a memory because we don't usually get that view. So I think that for me, that's the memory that I can think of that, you know, would jump into my mind.
Yeah, for me, the one thing that I always trip over is that the show is called Luminous, The Symphony of Us, and I always want to say Lumonious. I don't know why, because the previous show was Harmonious, and when I look at the word luminous, it looks like Lumonious. So for a long, like if you watch my old vlogs, I called it Lumonious for like 4 vlogs in a row, until one day I was just like, I think it's called Luminous, but it's like that word sounds very strange coming out of my mouth, like it doesn't sound like a real word, but to me, it's still Lumonious. So Lumonious, The Symphony of Us. So. But I do remember I did really like Luminous. I thought it was a great show. And I really liked how it really ties all the countries into the show. Because that's the big thing that I didn't like about Harmonious is that it did not really tie the countries that well. No. I like the focus being on the countries, especially in Epcot. Like that's
Harmonious was just more watching the clips of the movies when they played the music and when they were watching them in the water. So if you like that kind of show, then that's the kind of show that you would want, you know.
Yeah, but I do like Luminous. I thought the fireworks all looked really great too. We didn't listen to the music.
There are definitely more fireworks.
Yeah, we could have put it on the TV, but we didn't. We just watched it in silence. Yes. It was definitely still fun though, so I still enjoyed it. But I do remember that. I will always love Lumonious in my head. All right, thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. And again, those YouTube vlogs will be up very soon, so you'll be able to watch all of a more in-depth look at what we did over these 2 days. And also make sure to follow us on social media, Almost Amanda X. Again, I have two full story highlights. So for instance, on a story highlight, you can only have 100 stories. So more than 100 stories of photos and videos to watch of our 2 days fully in Epcot Magic Kingdom. So definitely worth checking out. And make sure on our dedicated Instagram post, you let us know when is your next trip. Do you like going during the festival season? What is your favorite time of year to go? When is your next trip? What does your countdown look like? Would love to know for sure.